Well, hello there. Building a classic stick frame pantry. You've seen it before. You know what it's supposed to look like. So I'm just gonna update you as I go. Got the cleats up on the wall. They look fine. They're just cleats. Why does it matter if the cleats look good? It doesn't. But if you can see the end from the beginning, by George, tell you what, you know what you're doing. If you ever wonder why the bottom's split like that, it's because the bottom's obviously a separate unit compared to the upper shelves. It's easier to build the bottom one section at a time. So like we're gonna build this section, and then when we're done with that, we're gonna build that section, right? Just makes it easier. Not gonna bother showing you cutting the material. I'm too lazy to go get my tripod. So, updates as we go. Let me go get those shelves, because we're starting with the uppers. Let me go get those shelves cut, get them scribed, get them put in. Why is my garage door open? Oh yeah, I opened it. It's nice out. Anyway, let's go get those cut. Safety first, people. 4 shelves at 47.5 by 15.5 before scribing. This is like a 4 foot by like 6 or 7 foot pantry, so fairly decent size, but you know, it's not the biggest one I built. It's not the smallest. Also, on a side note, to all my construction friends watching, Shop Shades by John Malecki, it's worth the purchase. They're like, I think I spent like 30 bucks on them. Easy to clean, very, very protective against material, and because of the side pieces here, material won't get into them, which is much better than the glasses I had before. So, worth the purchase. My only complaint, they just look big. That's it. They just look big and bulky, and I don't really like it, but I'd much rather be able to see in 30 years. Just filmed a whole video showing you how to scribe that shelf. Had a head mount, so you could see my view. You couldn't see what I was doing. So anyway, got the shelves up. Got just these 4 shelves up, as you can see. Good stuff, good scribes. Some of my better scribes, I will say. So now, those shelves. Just want to make quick mention of how I scribed this one. So I got my reference line there, which is to the front of the cleat. I've got my line marked there. On the other side, I have that same mark. Can you focus? Right there, yeah. I have another tick mark up there that's also in line with the reference line there, which I started up there, measured out the distance I need, took a level, drew a line down the wall. So, got those aligned, took my scribe, scribed the back side, shortened the scribe up a little bit, and scribed that side. So I did that for all of these. Now we just go cut. We're at an important step here. How do I figure out the angle to get this shelf to tie into this one? It's honestly very complicated. So I'll try to walk you through it. Basically, very sharp pencil, like very sharp. As sharp as a knife. A knife would work on this step, but I like using a pencil, and then when I cut it, I kind of stay on the outside of the pencil line, so it kind of fits in a little tighter. So sharp pencil, you find your angle, and then, wow, that was hard. Hi, here we are. We got the upper portions of our pantry built, the L, whatever you want to call it. Not too difficult. It really isn't too difficult. But the process that I did thus far, same process for down here. They're just a little bit bigger. The only difference is I got to build the top and the bottom separate, like the sections separate. So I'm going to work my way from the bottom up. So I'm going to get a piece attached on the toe kick, just straight across that way. And I'm going to work up, do the bottom one, the middle one, and then the top one. I'm going to do the nosing piece that goes across here, and then do the top side. And then I'm going to repeat that process over on this side, work from the bottom up until eventually it becomes a pantry with no face frame. But that'll be a Monday thing, because like most of my big projects, start it at the end of the day And I did get as far as I wanted to, so I have to wait till Monday to see how the rest of it comes together. But if I don't leave you on a good cliffhanger, then nothing happens. Anyway, till Monday. Good morning. It's too early on a Monday. It's not even early. It's like 8:15. I am not a Monday person. Anyway, so here's where we left off last week. What I'm going to do this morning, well, obviously I'm going to finish it, but I'm going to start by adding the toe kick across that back piece, and then I'm going to build out this section of it too, and then work my way up. Do the bottom shelf first, focus on one side first. Start on the bottom, do the middle, then I'm going to switch over and I'm going to do the bottom on this side and the middle, and then I'm going to build out this upper portion, get that taken care of. And then it's just face framing everything, filling all the cracks with wood fill, and we have a pantry. The goal is to get this done before noon, so then after that I can process material for closets, because I'm going to start working on closets after this. I feel like I should make one quick mention of why I'm doing this. This bottom portion is called a deck. Now, you might know what a toe kick is, but not know that that's what it was called. Basically, under a kitchen cabinet, a bathroom vanity, the little area under it where like you could stick your toes, that's a toe kick. It's basically built so when you're standing at a cabinet, you're standing more like in line with the cabinet, so your feet go under, so you're not like, hunched way over because you can't get right up onto the cabinet. That's essentially what the deck's doing. It's adding strength, so anything getting set on it, has all that strength. But when I put the shelves on it, I have, here, I'll just show you. So like, this is where the toe kick ends, but this is where my shelf's gonna be. And then there's gonna be a 3/4 inch face frame on that. So this area under here, it's a toe kick. It's not I was gonna say it's an artificial toe kick. It's not. It is a toe kick. That's why I have to build it out in sections, because I have to do that one side first so I know how big that shelf needs to be. And then I build out this second section so I know how big that shelf needs to be. And the top portion is essentially a deck. I need a lot more strength because that's gonna be the countertop. So by building it out in a big rectangle like that ties into that one, you got more strength. And it's not just one cleat with nothing supporting the middle of it. So deck on the bottom, deck on the top. That's why we do it. Gotta make sure you have nice sharp pencils when you scribe. Let's just preemptively get this measurement. 46 and let's say 11. I'll write you down because I will forget you. 46 and 11. All right. Scribe time. All right. Reference line. Reference line. Gets me in line with my cleats. So when I put the face frame on, everything's in line with each other. I'm going to overshoot my line on both sides, so when I pull the board out, I don't impede with anything on the back wall, especially when I turn the board over. Because the wall could be cockeyed in a way where I can get it lined up on one side, but when I flip the board, it won't line up. Make sense? Great. Here we go. About halfway. Flip the board around. Now normally, I would do both boards at the same time, but I wanted to show you this. Because why not? Why not disorient you a little bit? Okay. Take off a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. Okay, And I said my measurement was 46 and 11. 46 and 11. So I'm already taking off that amount, which is a ½ inch long. So I need to add a ½ inch long back to this. Which, let's see, that is, that's what it is. 47 and 3. All right. Let's take you back. Flip you down the other way. And get my lines lined back up. Good. Take my scribe, set it to that mark. And now we go cut. Here we go. Well, that one wasn't perfect. A little bit better. This one should be easier. Sometimes when you're trying to scribe lines that are real small, the blade's wanting to kick it out from the blade. So when you're cutting bigger slots like that last one, the blade won't want to kick it out as much. How'd we do? Wow, we did pretty good. That's how I like my pantry shelves, to where you have to pound it into place. But not so hard that you tear off the particle board. Actually, worst injury I ever got was doing just that. I had my hand here while I was hammering the board down. I even audibly said, hey, let me play this smart. Went and got a board of wood to hit so I don't break the particle board, and my hammer just went wham, right on my finger. Lost that entire fingernail for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 months, but it's back, and I learned my lesson and will not ever do that again. Good. So, you see my artificial toe kick now. So basically, when I'm here at the pantry, I can actually get my feet up under it so I can stand up with the pantry. So now, we'll do these two, we'll build out the top, rinse and repeat. We're getting somewhere. We're proceeding apace. So I just need to get my angles marked on these bottom two, get them fit into place, get them attached like these shelves, and then work on the top. But you can see this kind of deck that I built for the top. The front is made out of poplar because it's going to be face framed in poplar. Now, the math behind this, minus just figuring out the math to get that shelf spaced evenly in here. So when the face frame goes on, there are even spaces between the two shelves, or I guess the 3 shelves, whatever. But one thing I have to take into consideration is I want 2 inches showing here after the nosing, after the top goes on, because it's going to be 2-inch poplar face frame everywhere. So the math behind that, this is ripped at 2 7/8. 2 7/8 because it's going to have a 5/8 top on it. So 2 7/8 plus 5/8 is 3.5. It's a 1x4. 1.5 inch nosing, that takes it down to 2 inches showing. So everything looks consistent. Fun, right? So, let me get that angle marked on both those shelves, get them cut and installed, do the top, get the nosing on it, start face framing, get this pantry wrapped up. I got my butt kicked on that shelf, but we got it. Scribes look good, angles look good, everything looks good. But you see the vision here with the nosing and how I have 2 inches below it. You know, almost like I planned it. But lunch first, then face frame. And the face frame is as easy as cutting the poplar and just putting it in, fastening it like we do. Easy stuff. The only thing that's not complicated, but more scribing, I might have to scribe this piece, that piece, and the ones behind me to follow the contour of the wall. Scribing everywhere. The other problem with face framing is sometimes this distance here from this shelf all the way to the top might not be exactly the same as this one or that one. Same for down here. So if I put the face frame on and it's sticking slightly above the shelf, sometimes, depending on how I'm feeling, sometimes I'll scribe that piece too to be flush with the shelf and then just sand it more flush when it comes time for sanding. Sometimes I just leave it and suffer through and just sand it down flush. But regardless, I have taken some measurements here and most of it is pretty consistent, which means that it is level. So, lunch first, then face frame. So really, all in all, between the time that I started laying out all my lines, got the cleats on, from yesterday to today, well, it only was like 6 hours, give or take. I finished around 3:30, started processing closet materials, so not a bad day. Not a bad day. This is definitely one of my better pantries, and I say that with every pantry I build, which makes sense because I get better and better with every one that I build. So everything was, basically all the measurements were consistent across, even down here, minus this middle portion. It was slightly less than the two sides. So remember when I was explaining that sometimes with these stiles and these rails I have to scribe it to fit? We normally don't have to scribe the rails, but I ended up having to for this one and that one. So we are flush down here, flush with the top of the shelf, but as we came across, my face frame was up about 1/16 of an inch compared to the shelf on both sides, on both corners. So I just took my pencil, got the bottoms flush, scribed my line with my pencil, took that to the table saw, and now when I sand the shelf flush, everything will be flush. Got a pretty nifty little thing going on here and over there. That little calculation you saw me doing, that is the calculation to figure out the length that you need. On the outside of the 45-degree miters, that's the length you need. So, and I have it written down up here. So basically that calculation was from the front of the face frame to the back of the toe kick was about 2 7/8. If I take 2 7/8 times the square root of 2, that gave me 4.067. If I subtract out the whole number, take that times 16 to give me my 16ths, then I got 1.05. So that was basically telling me I needed my miter on the outside to be 4 1/16. That's essentially what that measurement was. It was slightly a little bit more than 1/16, but just one of the calculations we have to do. That's something new that we're probably going to start doing. It's called a brush, or a sweep. It's called a sweep. Probably going to start doing that on all our vanities because honestly, I like the look of it, and it saves us from having to notch the baseboard around the toe kick. Which when I am at the house basing while we're moving stuff to the next house, it saves me from not having to have the table saw, especially if I'm notching around a long piece of base. So, all that to say, our journey has ended. Pretty good looking pantry. By the way, if you have any questions whatsoever about anything you saw during this process, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm not going to share trade secrets, but yeah, I don't mind talking about my job. I like talking about my job. So if you have any questions, just go forth and frolic. Might have some more projects coming out. I got a big master closet that I'm going to be building, so that'll be fun. So stay tuned for updates. Anywho, till the next one.